Hey traders, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth for another daily market recap. Today is January 26th. It is Tuesday. And in today's video, we're going to discuss Beyond Meat joining forces with PepsiCo. That will be our main stock in focus in this video today. And before we jump into today's content, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this market perspective. So again, we're going to look at Beyond Meat and the PepsiCo. We'll look at some charting and the overall broader market as well. We're going to do a little bit of a different format in this video today. I'm going to do 3 separate videos. So I'll do a market update and we'll look at a few individual stocks, and then I will do a cannabis sector update, and then I'll do a crypto sector update. So before we jump into some charting, we'll look at the articles and go over some news and events here on the day. Again, I broke my hand, so just bear with me. Beyond Meat and PepsiCo team up for plant-based snacks. So a lot of people are speculating that this is going to not really amount to a whole lot. You can read this article on your own time, but essentially they're going to join forces to create snacks, and it's going to be called Planet with a lowercase e, getting a lot of people saying that the name is pretty silly, but personally I don't think it's the worst, but I'm really not that moved by it either. Let me know in the comments below what you think of their brand that they've created. So Beyond Meat spokesperson told us that the products are still in development. No word on what exactly Main Street can expect to see them, when we can see them in groceries and in aisles. So we'll see if those come to a grocery store near you in the foreseeable future. However, they are hoping that increases accessibility for people to make more positive choices and impact on the planet. However, Beyond Meat soaring today, that's the big story here. Jumping 39%, the largest intraday gain for shares Beyond Meat since June of 2019. Oppenheimer analysts noting that this is yet another attractive driver for Beyond Meat to gain a larger share with the plant-based ecosystem. However, if we take a look at JP Morgan analysts noting that 30% gain was a bit overshot based upon the financial opportunity at hand, noting that maybe if it was something like McDonald's, it would have made more sense, and that PepsiCo probably has limited upside. So let me know in the comments below if you think it's limited, if it's better than a McDonald's partnership. I'd like to hear from you. So moving on, we had some earnings. So we have a lot of earnings this week. We have a lot of catalysts as well. So we have the FOMC tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And we also have the initial jobs claims on Thursday. We have GDP numbers and just a jam-packed blockbuster week. So Microsoft reports 17% revenue growth as cloud business accelerates. So 203 versus 164, and 43 billion versus 40 billion. So beat on both of those, and especially on EPS, just destroyed it. And Azure and their Xbox sales were also a big driver among the economic crisis that we have. So take a look here at investing.com again, just to vet those numbers again, 43.08 versus the estimate of 40.23 billion, and EPS at 203, and forecasted was 1.64. So congrats to the Microsoft Bulls. That was an absolute monstrous earnings report. AMD beats driving by game console chip sales. So again, not really surprising given the economic crisis that we have. Everybody's at home. There's not really much to do. Everything's closed. So we'll just take a look at the numbers over here. We were expecting 3.02 billion, came in at 3.24 billion, and EPS of 0.47 was forecasted, came in at 0.52. So definitely some impressive numbers there, but not as impressive as the Microsoft earnings report, in my opinion. Starbucks tops estimates, even as US recovery hurt by the cases resurging. And taking a look at the numbers here, they missed on revenue forecasts. So we were expecting 6.9 billion, came in at 6.75, and EPS was forecasted at 0.555, came in at 0.61. So we had a small beat there. And we're seeing analysts try and predict Apple's first quarter earnings on Wednesday. It'll be tomorrow after the bell. We also have Tesla. So we have a very, very jam-packed week this week, and Facebook. So we'll see. They're talking about the first 100 billion revenue quarter ever in the company's history, and a lot of analysts are saying it's going to be a blockbuster earnings report. So we'll see if market euphoria can continue into tomorrow and the rest of the week. Democrats introduced $15 minimum wage bill with unified control of Congress and the White House. So that was notable. And again, tomorrow we have the FOMC, we have the mortgage market index numbers coming in, and we also have crude oil imports and inventories. But most important event tomorrow is going to be the FOMC statement, and that'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure to put that in your calendar, set a reminder, whatever you have to do. So moving on to some charting, we'll look at Beyond Meat, we'll look at a few other individual tickers, and then we'll go into the broader market. So S&P 500, the tech sector, and the US dollar, to name a few. So taking a look at Beyond Meat, we had a huge gap up, absolute monster move. We have a huge gap in the chart all the way down here at 164.25. So if you're not already in, I would be extremely cautious. And if you are looking to trade this volatile name, maybe you were waiting for 5-minute oversold. We never really printed that yet today, but we are forming a little bit of a rounded bottom here. And we'll see if we could be setting up for a potential cup and handle going into tomorrow. Well, let's just zoom out here. Again, this is the stock of the show today, and we're going to focus on it a little bit more. But with this monthly chart, you can see here that we were looking for a monthly higher low. We set that monthly higher low into a higher high. So we are in a monthly uptrend. Taking a look at the weekly chart. So the weekly chart, we lost the weekly higher lows and we broke here. So we had the low of 113.26 and we knew to be looking for that as a potential bottom. We hit a low of 114.05, held that pretty much perfectly, and we saw EMA 12 and 26 cross bull, and we saw a monster move. We saw a massive wick as well here on this weekly candle. It's only Tuesday, so we'll see whether or not that is the temporary top. If we see a huge blow off top and a potential giving back the potential whole move here. But on this daily chart as well, we need to be looking for daily higher lows coming off that 114.05 bottom. And we also had EMA 12 and 26 lining up with a bull cross on the daily. And we need to be scouting daily higher lows. So we were looking for that to potentially happen on EMA 12 and 26. It held it rock solid. And we had a daily bull flag. As soon as we broke 144.78, that was the confirmation of the daily bull flag. And you could have entered any point yesterday. You'd have been up significantly, but obviously there's no way you could have known that we were going to have that news come out with PepsiCo. And earnings are on, looks like TradingView has it here, March 4th. So in a couple of months. So that'll obviously be a big catalyst, but we have no daily high or low support all the way down here to 132. So again, just be extremely cautious. We have a gap in the chart. We could see about 12% pullback to fill the gap, and we could drop from current levels about 30% and still be in a daily uptrend, just looking for daily higher lows. So once again, just use caution and make sure you have a plan. If we're looking at the hourly chart here, you can see we're consolidating on the hourly. We failed the bull flag attempt, so we're expecting more of an equilibrium type pattern. So based on the size of this pullback, we'll just expect an hourly lower high as the most likely scenario compared to 227.24 resistance. But we do have EMA 12 there as well as a potential support level, and then 26 right behind it. So most important chart or time frame for me on this chart is going to be the hourly. If we lose the hourly uptrend, then that will indicate that the daily move is over and we can start to scout daily higher lows. And we could be forming here a little bit of a bear flag on the hourly. So if we do break the low of 183.60, then that's going to increase the odds of that hourly downtrend, and we'll see if we get follow through. So that's pretty much where we stand. I'll just take a quick look at the 5-minute chart into the end of the day, see if there's anything notable. So again, we could be potentially seeing a cup and handle. We'll see if we gap up tomorrow, but shares up over 17% at the close. And from yesterday's close, shares were up at 1.40%. So big shout out to, hats off to the bulls on BYND. We'll just take a look at some other names. So GME was absolutely crazy today. It's just beasting here after hours, up to 216, so up 46%. And we did hit a high of 248. Absolute insanity. This is ludicrous. And this is where we need to start remaining protective. When we start to see this amount of market euphoria and just fundamentals that seem to go out the window and nothing but pure speculative plays right now, in my opinion, driving this market euphoria. And it's never a bad time to start developing a game plan and be ready for all scenarios in case we do see a nasty pullback here. Not calling any tops, but again, nothing goes straight up forever. And we saw a nasty drop today on Roku, Zoom. Uber was down almost 5% today on the bear list. Fiverr down almost 10%. NKLA was up 23%. BYND, Space. So AB&B also saw a decent day, up almost 10%. BlackBerry up almost to $19 on the day, up about 5%. And just taking a look here at Microsoft after hours, closed at 232, up 1.22%. And we're currently up 3.3% after hours to 240. So we do have a daily higher low set here on Microsoft. So that's the most important short-term daily support at 224.22. And we do have resistance. We had resistance at 232.86, which we pretty much closed right below it. And we are above it here after hours. And that's all-time highs. So we are in blue sky breakout into tomorrow. We fought off that head and shoulders that we were looking at back throughout the summer. And we are all-time high close. We are blue skies after hours. So once again, congrats to the bulls on Microsoft. And just taking a look at Tesla. Tesla closed essentially flat on the day. Pretty much a nothing burger there for Tesla. So moving on to the broader market, SPY closed near the low of the day. Not what we want to see, but we'll see if QQQ can save it for the bulls. We closed QQQ here with a little bit of a doji and an inside bar, and we are up to 330.29 after hours. So getting some help from AMD and Microsoft after hours, and overall positive earnings reaction. The dollar, let's check in and see what's happening there. So we could be looking at a potential daily head and shoulders. We could even be looking at a bigger inverse head and shoulders coming off of this downtrend here, breaking out of this daily falling wedge. A little bit of a slant there, but we do have the neckline very, very close. So most important support is going to be down here at about 90.05. And most important resistance is going to be 90, 95, and 91. So we'll just say 91. But we could be seeing a shorter term. We are in a daily uptrend. So if we could be potentially seeing a daily head and shoulders here as a reversal pattern, we need to break the neckline. If we break the low here of 89.92, then that will be confirming the head and shoulders on the daily. And if we break above 91, that will be confirming an inverse head and shoulders. So the exact opposite psychology there. You see one on a downtrend, inverse head and shoulders on a larger degree scale. And then on a shorter term scale, you see daily uptrends into a bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. So again, the exact opposite scenario just happened back to back. So we'll be watching that on the dollar. And we need to hold those the 4-hour uptrend. And that's going to be the most important right now. We're scouting a 4-hour higher low compared to 90.08. So bulls need to hold that. We didn't really see a clear consolidation and pivot point here, so I wouldn't really consider that a loss of the 4-hour uptrend personally. So moving on, we'll just take a look at a few other sectors here. IWM closed down a little over 0.5% and down about 0.5% after hours. So we'll see if the tech sector can prop up the rest of the market going into tomorrow. SMH down 1.73% on the day. We are up about 12 cents after hours. TAN solar sector ETF was down about 1.18%. We saw the private prison sector as well. We're going to see an executive order to end private prisons. So nice to see that under the Biden administration. US oil was down 0.23%. And again, I've been calling that out for a little while now, that we could be potentially setting monthly tops on oil from all the way back here. And just extend that out as well. This has been a notable since the all-time highs on oil, and we are approaching that. So we'll see if we look to top out potentially around 59, or if we may top out here in the near-term future, but we are in a monthly uptrend, and we need to lose the weekly uptrend to see monthly consolidation. And we don't have any weekly higher lows really established. We had a mini one here, 47.20. So no real clear weekly support all the way down to 33.67. So bearing any news or anything like that we could see this potentially top out on the monthly. And again, just remaining protective based on how euphoric these markets have been over the last few days and weeks. But it's entirely possible we see more legs up with the Tesla earnings and Apple earnings and Facebook earnings, and then Amazon. We got so many catalysts coming up as well with FOMC, initial jobless claims. We have those numbers coming out, and GDP. VIX on the day closed down about 0.7%. And silver looks currently up over 0.5%, and gold down about 0.25%. So not really seeing much movement there. Still scouting daily higher lows on silver and gold, looking to change the daily trend back to the bulls. So we'll keep an eye out. That would be the most important chart for me going forward. XBI, which has continued to stand out as one of the stronger sectors, saw a notable red day today, down at 1.76%. Home builders ETF down 1.37. Energy sector saw down over 2% on the day. So one of the weaker sectors. And we are in a daily downtrend, and lost EMA 26 here on the daily, could see potential bear cross. So definitely seeing some red flags on the energy sector. That could be a potential precursor and foreshadowing event into oil. And the monthly top that I mentioned on oil, we'll see if that has any correlation, bearish correlation to the US oil sector. So take a look at XLF, financial down almost 1%. Again, hit a daily bear flag into a lower low. We are in a daily downtrend, lost EMA 26 as well. Real estate trust sector up a little over 1%. And the healthcare sector down 0.37%, down about 0.4% here after hours. But standing out as one of the stronger sectors still, as we are in daily uptrends, and we were scouting daily higher lows like most names, and held up very, very well. And we saw a bit of a daily bull flag there. So that's going to do it for the broader market. If you have any other questions or tickers that you'd like covered, please just let me know in the comments below. We'll just take a quick look at the macro indicators here for BYND as well. Forgot to do this earlier, but take a look at where we bounced here, right off that 10-week moving average at 141. So once we regained, it was acting as resistance. Once we crossed above it, that was the go signal. And we even had a perfect back test, and it was off to the races after that. Stochastic and the MACD on this stock is blasting off as well. We have increasing bull volume there on the weekly, so that's a positive sign. We are not yet weekly overbought as well on the RSI, so that's notable. We're above the 50 weekly moving average, and taking a look at the daily, we did have the 50 crossing through the 100 and the 200. So that was what we consider a death cross, the opposite of a golden cross, when the shorter term time frame moving average crosses through the longer period time frame, and that was called a death cross. But we went into a daily bull flag, bounced off the 50-day moving average as a solid level of support, and we found support off of that 50-day moving average. We dipped below it though, and usually that happens. We get a fake out before the breakout and shook out any weak hands that may have been eyeing that level, and we did drop to 132 on that drop. But now we could be potentially seeing a cross of the 50 and the 200 through short-term moving average crossing through the long term. That's called a golden cross. Again, it won't have as much meaning, in my opinion, as it would if it was a prolonged pattern, but because it went into a death cross, into a golden cross in such a short period of time, I'm not expecting a huge move to the upside, and we did break to the upside in a huge way, up over 40%. So how much really are we going to see left of this move? Personally, I would be at least trimming and taking profits and using the hourly chart as my guide. And taking a look at the VWAP here on the daily, you can see here that it was acting as resistance for quite some time, since all the way back here in October. And once we got above that here, changed the daily trend. As soon as we broke the high here at about 144, we knew that the daily bull flag was confirmed, and we even back tested that VWAP, confirmed support. Was previous resistance, now support, back tested that perfectly and got above it and saw a huge move and continuation of the daily bull flag. So once again, that's going to do it for today. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth for another daily market recap. I'll do another video with a update on the cannabis sector. There was a lot to cover today, and I'll also do a video on the crypto space. So hope everyone had a fantastic trading day, and still nursing this broken hand. So doing my best to keep getting as many videos out and creating as quality content for you folks as possible. So once again, talk to you guys very, very soon. Have a good evening, and we'll see you after market close tomorrow.